Hi guys, this is the next video in the sequel from the live debates last night, on my opinion. In the last video we spoke about Labour hasn't told you how he can employ 6,500, I think it was, teachers, right? Not to mention how he can get more people in the NHS as well. I went into kind of the flaws with that idea that it can't just happen overnight. It just doesn't work like that. And in previous videos I've mentioned about the false attitude that throwing money at a problem solves the problem, because it doesn't. With the NHS, you throw money at the NHS, it goes into the big bosses getting higher bonuses and pay, and it goes into new technology. New technology is a good thing, yes, fair enough, but it doesn't go to frontline workers. It doesn't go, like, a small percentage goes to actually employing new staff. Like, anyway, I've spoke about that at length in other videos, so you can easily go and find me ranting about the problems with the NHS that needs overhauling. I agree with the NHS. I think it's a good thing. I use it myself. That's fine. But if it's not working, it's not working. And throwing money at it is not going to solve the problem. Like, people think throwing money at a problem is going to fix it. Sorry, but it doesn't work like that. Like, sometimes you actually need to get nitty gritty, look at the structure, look at, you know, where is all this money actually going to, like, when it gets filtered in. Like, you need to get involved, you know, get on the front lines, talk to regular staff, not just hand-picked staff that will get your point of view. Do you know what I mean? Anyway, next thing about the TV debates. Kier Starmer wanted to focus on the past 14 years, right? And say that it's been terrible, this, that and the other, right? Okay, if Kier Starmer wants to go on about the past, right, then let's go on about Labour's past, right? Labour borrow money and keep on borrowing, which will take the country into further debt borrowing, right? And Labour also sent us into war with Iraq, Afghanistan. Like, let's not forget what Tony Blair did, right? Yeah, he sent us to war, even though the country mostly didn't want us to get involved in it. Most of the country, there was protests and everything saying that we shouldn't go to war. Even in schools, this was like, even in school, preschools, do you know what I mean? When I was at school, there was protests and shit, like. So let's not forget Labour's past history, right, of sending us to war, and not to mention Kier Starmer's second in command, I think it was, said that she wants to get rid of the nuclear deterrent. Yeah, because that's a good idea, isn't it? Get rid of our nuclear deterrent. Oh, Iran's still got nuclear weapons. The United States have still got nuclear weapons. Russia still has nuclear weapons. China still has nuclear weapons. Oh, but we should get rid of ours, yeah? So who's defending us? What, the United States? We'll be crumbled and defeated by nuclear weapons before the United States can even launch anything from their country to defend us. Like, it's bullshit. Like, if Russia comes through Europe and lands on our shores, the United States ain't gonna get to us in time. Like, it's actually a false attitude to have that we should get rid of our deterrents, right? Because most countries won't attack us because we have deterrents. Now, saying that, so Labour doesn't really have a plan for that. And talking about defence, Labour also won't commit to raising the defence budget that we crucially need. Like, you can disagree with the Conservatives on things, and that's fine, but ultimately they have committed to raising the defence budget in line with other countries, which is a good thing, and above other countries even. So that's a good thing, because the world is, a scary place, and it's got worse over the last couple of years with Russia invading Ukraine and all that happening. So the fact that Labour and Keir Starmer won't commit to raising the defence budget, and the second in command wants to get rid of our nuclear deterrent, it's unclear what their plan is. Now, I'm not a Conservative, I'm not a Tory voter at heart, I'm neutral, independent. I look at, who is actually saying that they've got a plan. Whether I believe it is a different matter, because I don't believe any politician. Because ultimately, it's all about power. It's a game when it comes to elections. Like, they will say whatever they need to say to get themselves into power. Keir Starmer has proven that, because he's telling you what you want to hear. Do you know what I mean? Like, he is scaremongering you, saying, oh, it's been terrible this past 14 years, terrible. I mean, take into consideration that we have had recession, we have had the war in Ukraine that influenced certain things. You've had, like, the pandemic, like, you've had a lot of things. Not to do with Labour, right? Under Labour as well, let's not forget, you had the 2008 banking crisis that Labour probably could have avoided if they had put restrictions on the banking system, but Labour had their foot off the gas, didn't they? They didn't really look at that sector, thought there was an issue. So let's not forget about Labour's track record, right? When Labour wants to criticise Conservatives' track record, right? Let's look at what happened under Labour government. They sent us into war and shit. So, everyone's got a past history. It's all about the future. And do you know what? I would rather a government tell me that, tell me a lie that I know is a lie. Like, do you know what I mean? A government, I would rather them say that everything's fine and that everything's going to be fine, because it creates hope. Now, you know that it's a lie. You know that it's not fine. You know that it's not going to be fine. And it's probably going to all crash. But on contrast to that, Keir Starmer is telling you that it's bad, telling you that it's awful, but he hasn't got a plan to tell you that it's all going to be fine. Now, when it comes to energy, right, Keir Starmer says that creating a UK-owned, a public company, like, that the government owns, is going to bring down energy prices, and that's going to somehow, and creating renewable energy is going to create that. Number one, it's going to take ages. Number two, you've got maintenance cost of those wind turbines, solar panels, etc., etc. You've got maintenance costs. So the energy prices are not going to be as cheap as what you think that they are. Not to mention, the way that an energy company works is that they get their prices from the world energy supply, essentially. Like, it's not independent of how the energy, it's very complicated. It would need, the energy sector would need an overhaul of how it's all worked out, basically. But yeah, basically, I don't think prices would come down. Just look at other national owned companies and tell me whether prices are cheaper or the same as, private. Do you know what I mean? Personally, and whether they're actually making money is another matter. I wouldn't say that nationally owned companies are making money or that are cheaper, because ultimately they're not competitive enough. Do you know what I mean? So Keir Starmer has a lot of, not even a lot, that's one idea, but it just won't work. It's a no idea. And then there's, not to mention, Labour just can't tell you how this stuff is going to be paid for.